guys, to episode 8 of Muse on the Mic. I'm Riley.
And I'm Emily. Pardon my voice. I'm getting over a cold, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, on Patreon. Find us on all social media. We'll link everything in the description below. We've got a question and answer episode for you guys today. You've been sending us some of your questions about us, about the business, about the behind the scenes and interworkings of Muse life in Museville.
I've been so excited for this one. But before we even jump into it, I want to shout out because I finally have a matching mug.
Yay! J Mugs, thank you.
A gift from J Mugs. You guys have to check him out for all like your personalized items. We love gifts, so it was a nice surprise to finally get mine.
Yay! We'll link his Instagram in our stories and share his profile so people can put their orders in. He does great work. I love it. And rumor has it there's wine glasses for us too.
There is. I have mine. Yours is still at the office.
Yay! I'm so excited. Also, fun thing for all of our viewers, we are putting our very first exclusive Patreon episode on our Patreon account this week, next week. And it's going to be one of the spicier questions from our Q&A that we felt is a little too juicy for YouTube.
Yeah.
Definitely a hot button topic. So make sure you join the Patreon and check that episode out coming soon. So Q&A, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm going to start out with one of my favorite ones. We got a lot of questions and we're going to try to get through as many as we can today, but this was one of my favorites. In the midst of all the chaos surrounding the formation of Muse, do you recall the first time you realized, wow, we really made it? It's a great one. But what I wanted to touch on before we give our answer to that is kind of like one of our most humbling moments as massage spa owners was the day we opened Muse. It was, the morning of times, ticking down to 9 o'clock that we can finally open the doors. And we're sitting there ready, all dolled up with all of our staff. It was so exciting. And we were literally like hunched over the couch, looking out the window, waiting for this flood of clients to come in, because we thought that moment that she asked, like, when would you have made it? We thought that would be day one, right? I mean, we're Emily and Riley. Clients will be here. Our egos were so big. Needless to say, there was not a flood of clients. They trickled in, and it took time, like any business, to grow and expand. But anyways, as soon as I saw that question, I was like, it brought me right back to the beginning of being humbled that like we were not as we hadn't made it yet.
How foolish and naive we were. It was so sweet though. The best of intentions with our slutty dresses on. It was great.
I got it.
Hilarious. I remember at that time really struggling a little bit with clients too, because for me, there was a transition from attendant to now owner. And it was a little grabby at the beginning. I remember being like, no, thanks. But hi, welcome back. I think for me, I think I have a few moments that came to mind when we got that question. Opening day was definitely thrilling and kind of a blur in that adrenaline sense, even though it was 2 days later than it was supposed to be.
Right.
We could save that for another episode. But I feel like the day we got the body rub license was definitely a secondary we have arrived moment.
Sure.
I feel like the day that we purchased Vaughn was definitely okay, we're really here because now we're growing even more. I felt that way kind of when we finished our first expansion at Toronto and had to grow past 3 rooms to 5 rooms because supply and demand is definitely a telltale sign of a thriving business. And the first time I had to buy a safe, I was like, wow, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, I remember opening my first safety deposit box and I was like,
we made it. Right? We can do things now. We can live.
I think there's so many moments. Like, I mean, in this question, she was also asking, top 10 moments, which I think we should dedicate an episode to at some point. But I feel like there has been so many moments where, like, I remember getting our first coffee truck wrapped in Muse advertising that, I mean, really is genius. You're going to work sites full of men. That was a moment, like you said, the safe, like there's so many moments along the way where we kind of realized, especially getting the body rub license, I think too.
Yeah, it's really like it's kind of, some were industry related and some were just entrepreneurial altogether.
Yeah.
And the things that made it feel more official or more solid ground, especially with how insanely shaky our first couple years were,
Yeah.
with all of like the shenanigans our competitors were up to try and get us completely closed and not just like shut down, but eliminated altogether. Each time we hit those milestones, it was like more and more reassuring.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of comical, and that's why we get to tell you all these stories. Push through, you guys. Push through, because you never know what's coming next. Okay, I got one for you. Where do you see the spa industry going in the next 10 years?
I think the industry has changed a lot in terms of mileage over the years, even going back from when you worked in the business. I think mileage is always increasing. I still firmly believe, or we both do, that there's a place for Muse being a non-full service spa. And this is no discrimination to, girls that provide more or escorts. We have friends in that industry. But like I said, I think there's still really a place for Muse in 10 years, 6 years. I don't know. Could we be full service? I hope not, but I think there's a chance. Like, just to
Hmm.
be honest, like the industry might dictate that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of why we try to err on the side of creativity is often to take that pressure away from our staff, because that pressure is just always there. It was back in my day too, to a lesser extent. But if a session got, bored and a long lull, guess what the first thing would be that someone would ask, can we do this? Can we do that? How much for the extras? That kind of vibe. In some ways, I hope that the mileage scale, I mean, things are pendulum. I hope it comes a little bit more back to center. I feel like there's just such a rampant brothel existence in our industry that I personally don't feel needs to be there. I think there's a place for strip clubs. I think there's a place for massage parlors. I think there's a place for brothels and escort agencies. And the blur makes it very difficult. I mean, we see the same thing in the strip club industry too. There's no such thing anymore as just, stage shows and table dances and that kind of
Right.
thing. It puts a lot of pressure and reduces the longevity of certain girls and how long they can work or deal with the industry. And I would love to see with that come more ethical treatment. And it's weird because back in my day, the grimier the spa, probably the worse you were treated or the worse the clients were. I lucked out. I worked in a super grimy place, but the boss was awesome. The girls were
Mm.
really cool, and we made the best of the riffraff we were in. But there was no high end options back then. I feel like now it's kind of the opposite. The fancier the spa, the worse some of the girls are treated. And the stories are actually more horrific than some of the grimier places. And it's jarring to me constantly. I hate hearing those stories. It hurts my heart. I wish I could save and rescue everybody and tell them, you could work at a place like Muse and
Yeah.
make the same amount of money and see better, nicer clients and enjoy your day and throw a few orgasms in the mix and some presents and some laughs with the girls and not be screamed at by your boss and not be, intoxicated and not be forced to do certain services or else punished, to not be fined, hundreds of dollars for things that are outrageous. Like there's a lot of unethical treatment in my mind. And I really wish that pendulum would swing a bit back. I don't know if 10 years is really the marker for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in this for 20 something years and I've seen it kind of go one way. It might be another 20 before it swings back. I don't know if there's a way to predict that, like a stock market, but that's what I wish.
What is one of the biggest differences in your personalities as owners?
He threw that one at me. I wasn't ready.
I'm going to go first then, if you have something to add. I
Oh,
said this, I think, the other day to you, and I think it's such a accurate representation of us. I feel like Emily and I are a mullet. So I'm the business in the front and she is the party in the back. Like we are, as much as we, it's true. It's true. We're a mullet. As much as we're in line with like our goals and the way we run the business and all of those things, we are such different personalities. Like she is the rainbow and the color to the world, and I'm the black and the white. So.
Oh, I love you. That took me out. A mullet. It's true. Oh, that is such a visual. I'm gonna make a meme about that. There's Photoshop somewhere that can put mullets on us. Wow. I feel like, I feel ways about this topic. I feel like I have a bad rap and I don't understand why. I mean, I understand the fuckery and foolery that caused some of that online and has led to people to believe all kinds of fake news. But I feel like I'm definitely the rainbow. I'm the softer one. I'm the more emotional one. I definitely care about people's feelings first and certain things where you're like, this is business. And I'm like, wow, humans. And you're like, the decision is already made. I'm like, okay. I don't know. We joke sometimes about who's the angel and who's the devil, and that definitely can switch back and forth. And we definitely get along with certain people better than others and all of those little like nuances. But Emily's known to be the cunt. I don't know
I don't
why.
know why, because you literally, I can name so many examples of this. She invests so much time into our staff, especially if she gains a soft spot for one of them. It is like her project and mission. And it's not that I don't love our staff as well. I just don't. I don't always put in the same effort that she does. And even with amongst the staff, depending on what's being put out from us as the owners, oftentimes she will write a group text and ask me to send it because how it's received from her is often different. And we've never really understood that. We kind of understand where it came from in the beginning, but it still kind of exists. But I mean, everyone loves Emily and everyone knows her personality.
They're definitely getting a taste of it here on the podcast. I think it pisses off, especially our haters, to think that it's impossible that we are cute, smart, and nice. I think it's just unfathomable, especially in this kind of an industry. And whether we were mislabeled or scarlet lettered or judged or whatever it may be, that initial stuff was like, we're talking 15, 14, 13 years ago. I have no clue why it still exists in like the ecosystem of gossip or things like that. I don't really understand it. But you're right. I think of specific girls when you tell stories like that I've really invested in. I've allowed girls in trouble to live in my house for a few weeks. I've helped them find apartments. I've helped them sign mortgages. I've co-signed on things. I go out of my way to make sure that they're safe, that they're secure if they need rescue from a dangerous situation, a bad relationship. Even if they go work somewhere else, sometimes I'm worried about them. If they've had struggles in the past and might, slip up in a different environment, I'd rather give them, resources and therapists or accountants or like whatever it is you need. I will bend over backwards and do it for the girls. And so when some of that backlash comes back at me, I actually get my feelings hurt quite a bit. I've tried and I've learned from you sometimes, like, business doesn't have feelings, money doesn't cry for anyone. Like those kind of things I fully understand. And I think I try to emulate more now. But I still get in my feels about it, especially if it's a girl I was close to or particularly liked or enjoyed having around on the team. But I mean, it's been 14 years and hundreds of girls. So you kind of have to learn to toughen up about it. I can't get upset about everybody that like might go somewhere else or we don't get along all of a sudden or she retires and I'm like, oh, we're going to miss you. Like it is what it is. But I will say that same imbalance between us exists with the customers a little bit. Because when I travel and I leave you with the emails, I check back sometimes. I get the giggles because I talk a lot. I write a lot. So you're very short to the point. Like, okay, 9 o'clock, all set with Julia. Done. Yeah. And I'm like, have fun, enjoy yourself, la la la, love you, kisses, bye. Like all the fluff. I look back sometimes and go, Oh, Riley, you could have put a smiley face.
I will try harder.
It makes me giggle so much. But you have grown in that regard. Riley handles our Instagram, guys. So anytime there's hugs and kisses and emojis there, it's definitely from her.
I try. But I mean, you know what? Even I was thinking back to the phase one of our recent renovation. Um, Emily is the spender. She has the eye for everything. And all I do is look at price tags. Like, I'm on budget. We need to stay within this budget. No, don't look there. Redirect her through the store. Like, there's so many differences between us. But you know what? We balance each other out, I think. I think it makes the partnership work. I mean, if we were both
It's
spenders,
beautiful.
we'd be broke, right? So,
Oh, that's so true and so funny. It's a great balance. We yin and yang really well. And not only are we 14 years in, so we're used to it, but even right from the beginning, it didn't often take like a big meeting to get over something or through something or figure out who's going to juggle what. Like our decisions are so immediate, sometimes barely even require a conversation. It's just you tackle this, I'll tackle this, call me in an hour, and that's it. Like, and
yeah.
it doesn't have to be all the other things. And I do realize that that's not how most businesses get to operate. And I think we're very blessed that way. It takes away a lot of extra fluff. You and I both don't like meetings that could have been an email. So if we can knock out a bunch of shit real quick and not have to worry about, we'll deal with that on Thursday, or we have to call in other people to ask their opinion. And we just make quick, fast decisions. And we're often on the same page with those kind of decisions. So other than budgets, it's easy most of the time. And there's a lot of trust between us. So even if one of us is away or busy or something, we trust the other to make a decision. And there's never even a question afterwards. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I love us. Yay. Ooh, were you the first spa to do a door fee and extra fees paid up front?
We were. Like, that's the
Yeah.
easy answer. Yes, we were. Again, changing the industry and how it operates. But I mean, there's nothing sexy about negotiating money, right? So the girls are going into the room, and how the industry worked before, for those of you that don't know, you would negotiate. Is it a nude reverse, or a body slide session, right? So they're going in and trying to kind of pitch the client, how much money they're going to make and what service he wants, which A, is just uncomfortable and tacky. And secondly, I think we just wanted to be kind of that higher tier of spa. So we only offer body slide sessions. It's a given. That's what you're getting when you walk in the door. It takes away the uncomfortable chatter about it. And it also puts the girls at a higher price point. So they're not, dealing with clients that want to come in and spend $40. I mean, in this industry, and the job that they do, they deserve to be paid well for their time and their services. So yeah, we were the first. It caught on, I think, fairly quickly. And now I think everyone in the industry.
Yeah. It's as with everything that we do, there was immediate backlash. I definitely remember that at first. I remember a few threads on the internet that were like, what the fuck? Da, 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 just like losing their mind. But it caught on very quickly across the board. It made things super easy for the girls. Not only did they know they were going to be making top dollar per session, and like you said, what service they're offering, or they're going in to do. But from my experiences as an attendant, I remember not always having great customers. And sometimes you would wonder at the end, is he going to pay me what we negotiated on? Or, the odd client would pull some shenanigans and literally try and run out the door. Or, oh, I got to go to my car and get my wallet, or some nonsense like that. And you would have the odd moment where you got ripped off. It happened to me about 3 times in my 8 years working. And it's a very feel like shit moment, to be honest. You feel like a 2-bit hooker at that point, just bottom of the barrel. It bums you out. It ruins the rest of your day. And it ruins your ability to trust customers. And so not only was it nice to reassure the girl to have it up front, but it also meant as a girl, you didn't have to interrupt the session for lack of trust. If you're 10 minutes in and then you decide, okay, he wants this, this, and this, it's very unsexy to be like, okay, stand up and get me the $80, please. Like,
Yeah.
it breaks the flow. You're interrupting. Now he's like, half naked, fiddling in his pants. Like, it's just a whole weird flea markety kind of situation. And so,
Margaret, I like that.
Right? Like it felt so Hegel and like you're not sure is he you're gonna change the deal and blah 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 and like most customers were lovely and lovely gentleman tip addition at the end and all those great things. But you want to be able to be relaxed because you can give better services when you're relaxed, when you trust your customer. And so when you don't have to worry about that, you can just immerse yourself in the session. And it reminds me very much of all-inclusive resorts. You don't have to get up at lunch out of the pool, pay for, a burger. It's all inclusive. You don't have to worry. You tip your maid and you're done. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's just such a simple offering. And you can see it in things like a full day at the spa or, a prefix menu at a restaurant where you pay a separate price. You just eat the things. Like it just takes away that negotiation, that uncomfortable money discussion. The manager is kind of the middleman in terms of collecting that money. And then if a guy has a great time and feels to give the lady a gratuity at the end, then he still has opportunity to do that when he's getting dressed and walking out the door properly.
Yeah.
But I love how much our competitors like steal our ideas after they bitch and complain about it. Because like now I look at it, I'm like, at least 50% of the way you operate is Muse written all over it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right,
Yeah.
I have one you're gonna like here. This is for you.
Yay. I'm excited.
Do you ever plan to record in the same space?
Ooh, we've been talking about this one. Yes, as a general one-word answer, absolutely. We do have some studio plans that we've been working on. Not sure when those will happen, definitely in 2024. But I will say, let's add to our wish tender and our Christmas wish list for proper microphones and proper cameras so we can start to build our studio equipment. Bosses love presents too. We should link our wish tenders in the description below. Yeah, I think we will have even more fun recording together. I'm sure there will be definitely busy weeks where we're still separate like this in our own homes,
Yeah.
but we get up to more shenanigans when we're together. There's more shits and giggles. There's more wine usually.
Yeah.
And my entire goal in life is always to make Riley laugh. So if I get to crack that face, I'm like, yes, this has been a good day. So there'll be more of that in person for sure. We'll just have to soundproof it because
Yeah. I look
people will
forward
hear
to
my
that.
laughter.
It's a process, guys.
We're new to this, so we'll build the studio and the equipment as we go. I'm excited for that though. I think it's gonna be really cute. Some of our ideas have been awesome. It's gonna be so fun. And I love more time with Riley.
Yay.
I might jump in on this one too, actually, because I know you'll ask me some things too. A client asked the question, it's a bit of a vague question, but the premise he was getting at is a hand release legal and or what are the legalities around a hand release? Like how does that fit
Okay.
in?
Answer, yes, it is legal. We are legal and licensed to do the things we do. And if I want to quote the bylaw, which I know you're better at doing, I think it's something along the lines of like a body rub massage is to manipulate and stimulate the body by any means necessary. Did I get
Just
it?
not the necessary part. Yeah, by any means.
By any means. So yes,
Yeah.
it is legal.
Oh. I love that. And I remember I was still working as an attendant when that debate was in its final levels of appeals court. And it was determined that it was part of a body rub service and not deemed a sexual service. So not deemed as prostitution, which is kind of a hard circle to square up sometimes when you have differences between bylaws, local laws, and then federal laws. They don't always align into the same shape and structure. So it was definitely it was like 8-9 years in appeals courts back and forth. But when that came about, it kind of changed things. And then it started to shift on how enforcement was able to monitor us. Back in my day, they used to do undercover work. And then they got in some trouble for doing that. And they don't do undercover work anymore. Listen, men are men. Opportunity will knock and titties will be there. Like I can't blame them for it, but it wasn't professional. They got in some trouble. And so now they just have to go about different ways to kind of keep an eye on the industry and make sure we're staying within our guidelines and bylaws. Although the reason we have full service spas is because that's not entirely possible. And there's no bylaw that's a written list of specific sex acts. That would be impossible and a never ending list. Um, but when it was decided that that was actually legal, it changed our ability to speak about it. It changed how we're able to discuss and advertise and operate our business. So it definitely works in our favor that the things we do are on the side of the law. Yay! That's little angels, right? Woo!
Yeah. No, I was even watching back an episode the other day. You called us penis angels.
Yes.
Like when you said angels, I was like, you were like, "We're penis angels are here," and I died of laughter. I was like, "Did she just say that? We're penis angels." Okay, do you want to get
We
to
are.
the quick fire?
Absolutely. Who's
Okay, so
fire?
there's a
Who
few,
first?
or there was a bunch of questions that don't have like a long explanation, so we're just gonna go back and forth here. I'll start with you, Emily.
Go.
What's the furthest someone has traveled to go to Muse?
Ooh. Um, I want to say Belgium.
Really?
Yeah, it was about 6 years ago. Pandemic has me like fuzzy on time. About 6 years ago, and there was a gentleman coming to town. He just so happened to hear about us on Humble and Fred Radio, and was had always wanted to come to Toronto, and realized if he was able to come and go to Muse a few times in the week, he could also squeeze in a few business meetings. And I was like, "So wait, you're coming on business? Or you're coming for Muse?" Like, "Oh, I'm coming for Muse. I just gonna squeeze in a little business." It's like I
Right.
absolutely love that.
And we definitely have American clients. I see their
For
currency
sure.
often,
For
so they're
sure. Yay! We love world travelers. They're adventurous fellows.
there.
All right, ready for the next one. Does Muse have a kitchen or do the girls get takeout every day?
Muse does not have a full kitchen. We don't have like a stove. We have a microwave. We have a fridge. A lot of girls bring food, but they certainly eat out and Uber and whatever they're comfortable with.
Yummy. We got good food nearby too.
What's the oldest attendant you would hire?
Ooh. I think the oldest we've ever hired is 52, although she didn't look a day over 38.
No, she doesn't.
Um, um, if someone were to ask me a range, I'd usually say, upwards of 45 would probably be where I'd put the limit. Um, I
I
guess
think
it
it just depends
depends.
on how you present yourself and how you
Yeah.
look.
I
They can
mean,
still pull it off.
J-Lo and Jen Aniston are in their 50s. So, like,
I know.
would we say no? Never.
Never.
It just depends, boys. Jeez. All right, all right. Let's see. Can girls work the night shift and then work in the morning?
Yes. Um, how the girls schedule themselves, although we do the scheduling, is up to them. They want to work once a week or 7 times a week is completely up to them. They can do back-to-back night to day shifts, but I don't really recommend it. But if they can pull it off, I'm all for it.
Agreed. Agreed. What's
Um,
next?
would you recruit internationally?
No. Short answer, no. Reason being, it's not legal. Those laws were changed a good 20 years ago to help hinder sex trafficking. You have to be a landed immigrant, a citizen, and hold a green card to be able to get licensed to work at Muse or anywhere in the adult entertainment industry, actually. You can't be a dancer either. Aside from the one spot in Canada is Mississauga. You can be unlicensed and work in Mississauga as a stripper. That's all I know. So no international babes, which sucks because there's beauties that would love to work everywhere.
Yeah.
I got one last one for you. In a nutshell, do you think regulations will be more or less strict in the future?
Do I think, sorry, what?
Regulations, like bylaws or sex industry.
Regulations. I, you might be better to answer this one, but I don't foresee them changing. I mean, the city doesn't change much. Um, so I'd say no.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, as an industry for like 40 years, I've been trying to change simple things. Our
Right.
bylaws were written in the 80s, and we can't get an amendment passed for our life depended on it because it's hard to lobby a politician who's going to be like, I'll be the rub and tug guy. I'll fight for
Right.
the rub and tuggers. Like that,
Yeah.
he's just not gonna be that guy. So if there is a guy, we want that guy. But in general, no one really is gonna be out there fighting for us, which sucks. But we still spend the money on lobbying. Blah
Well,
blah.
I think that kind of wraps up our first Q&A. We
That was
didn't get to
fun.
everyone's questions. We will. Let's do it again. People submitted questions on all social media platforms. So thank you guys so much for doing that. We hope you enjoyed and continue sending them in, even if we're not, doing an episode for some time. We'll keep them in our back pocket.
I totally agree. Every like 10 episodes or something, we could do a nice little Q&A. Keep collecting them as we go. We'll throw it up on our social media stories again. And you guys can submit by email, social medias, whatever you like. Make sure you guys go like and subscribe, share the videos, follow us on Patreon. We're about to record our first spicy Patreon episode. I can't wait for this one. It's going to be juicy. So join in and you can hear all the tea, guys. We'll see you next time.